Welcome back to J&J Bowling. Today, we got Donnie Neal. He is going to clean my bowling balls and show you guys how to service them.
What's up, guys? Alright, so we're going to surface first.
Okay.
We're going to put it back to as close to factory as we can, which is actually polished for this ball. So we're going to do a 1000 grit,
Okay.
a 3000 grit, and then polish.
Alright. So you do surface before cleaning, or you do cleaning and then service?
Surface before. If you're going to do the surface before cleaning, because it'll get rid of all the stuff on it anyway.
Okay.
So.
Right, I got you.
Alrighty then. Basically, you'll take your conditioner here, it's for the pads, makes them last longer.
Okay.
And it kind of gets rid of the friction on the ball for the spinner.
Okay.
You just gotta soak the pad real good. And you're gonna do 4 sides. Real light pressure. With these pads, creating the difference pad, you only need to do 1 pass. Because each pad cuts at what it reads. Alright, now we switch to our 3000 pad, which should give it a little bit of a shine. But then we're going to add some polish on top. can hear, it's a lot more tacky.
Yeah, I hear that.
But we still gotta do the polish.
Yeah.
Alright. So there's that without the polish. And I'll go put some polish on her. And I'm going to use the 5500 so it doesn't go as long. You're going to do the same thing, just do 4 sides. But with this, you're going to do 4 passes instead of 1. See, that is now shiny.
Yeah.
Apply the polish for every side.
So when do you recommend doing this? I mean, how long does this normally last for?
For general touch-ups, I would say probably every 6 to 9 games if you're doing it on a spinner. If you're doing it by hand, which you can do with the True Cut stuff, it's like every 3 to 6 games. Because a lot of people don't realize the surface changes very quickly on a bowling ball.
Yeah.
Like we can start out with this, say it'll be 5500 because of the polish. By, I'm going to say, maybe a game and a half to 3 games max, the surface is probably going to drop some. To maybe I don't know. It'll go to stable eventually after a couple games, which is 4700. So you could lose a little bit of reaction, but usually if you're doing it on a spinner, every 6 to 9 games.
Okay.
So that's done. Now we just gotta clean it. Get all the excess off and clean it real good. And we're gonna use Life After Death, which is also from Creating the Difference. It'll add some Tackify in it. It's a life extender as well as a cleaner. So that's a good thing. As you can see, the ball's a lot shinier than it was.
Yeah.
Now what we're going to do, clean it real good with a scuff mark remover and Life After Death. So basically you just spray it on. Let it sit for 30 seconds.
Now, obviously, the Life After Death is a little bit more expensive than other cleaners, but
Yeah.
I heard it's basically the best.
It is. That's all I use. I love it. You don't even really have to apply much pressure. Just basically wipe around it real good. Do half the ball at a time. Wipe the excess off. Give it a chance to dry and kind of soak in the cover a little bit. That'll let it, that's for the life extension. Flip her over and do the other side. You always want to make sure that you spray the pad really well with that stuff, because these pads, if you don't get them really nice and wet like that, they can be abrasive. So you want to make sure you spray it real well so it doesn't actually alter the surface of the ball as you're cleaning it.
Okay.
And this is recommended to do after every single time you bowl. Because if dirt piles up on your bowling ball, dirt and grime and scuff marks and all that good stuff, it can impede the reaction and, you know, change the reaction of your bowling ball, and it may not work as well as it did before. Now this ball had no tack to it when we started because it was an old ball. But if you listen now, you can hear the tack.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a little bit of a wet finger, so. But there's that.
Oh, nice.
And that one's done.
So that was the Onyx Vibe. It's a ball that I had found. If you guys watch the channel, that I had found at the bowling alley, and it just, I like the back end on it. So, and then it lost that. So hopefully we can find that again. So by cleaning it and surfacing it, we'll do it. So we also have 2 more bowling balls here.
Let's do a good cleaning on this first, just so we can see the actual power of life after death.
Okay. I was gonna say, and then obviously, a lot of the viewers don't have a spinner sitting in their room, so
yeah.
we'll have. If you don't mind, I mean, I know it may take a little bit longer. If you can show us how to do that without a spinner, unfortunately.
Yeah, all of this can be done by hand with these pads, and this cleaner and the polish, everything can be done by hand. Now it may not, the surface will be slightly different, like with the polish, because obviously with a spinner you get the polish like really consistent and all that stuff, but you can do it by hand. All right, so let's just get and clean this. I'm going to use a different end of the pad just so we can see how much this gets off.
Yeah, this is the radioactive Vibe that I got over the summer, and when I first got it, of course, right out of the box, like any other bowling ball, they're gonna hook, and it was a crazy hook, and obviously over time, even with me just cleaning it, but not cleaning it with the life after death or really taking care of it, I've noticed it changed a lot. So.
Now some of these are like little nick marks and everything. May not come extremely clean because it's actually in the bowling ball.
Does it help to have nick marks, because wouldn't that open up the pores a little bit to kind of grip the lane a little bit more?
I don't know if it really helps, but it won't hurt them if they're just little tiny nicks like that. The only way it's really going to hinder your anything is if like a kind of a deeper gash is in your track.
As you're cleaning that, I know you keep rubbing over the same spots. Are you looking at something that is saying, hey, this is clean, or?
I'm basically just making sure I go over it real well.
Okay.
Like I said, there's some that are like, there's some actual dirt in like some of the little nicks and scratches and stuff like that, that's probably not going to come out with any cleaner because it's, in the bowling ball. Right, now, let that soak in a little bit. You can see a difference, especially right here.
Yeah, definitely.
Here to here. Trying to get a little bit of that, where that big scuff mark was.
Yeah.
Get that a little cleaner.
Yeah, when I throw my bowling balls, I said most of my balls, we've noticed we have a big scuff mark. I was told that I actually, because since I do throw way back from the approach, on the approach, I was told to actually throw it on the approach instead of on the lane. I believe that's probably not the case, because I haven't seen it. I think I don't set it down nicely, so my ball does bounce. And I'm thinking over time, that's is giving these scuff marks on them.
Now, this stuff usually don't really foam up like this, but I used a lot, and I'm kind of pushing some pressure to get this thing nice as clean as I can. Sometimes you gotta use a little elbow grease. As you notice, I go two directions. I'll go one way, this way, and then I'll go this way. Just to kind of make sure I get every angle. Now, I was able to get a lot of that big scuff mark out just with the cleaner. I like to kind of fan it a little bit to help it dry and soak in a little quicker.
Yeah.
That one you can really hear the tack.
Yeah, definitely.
But it looks a lot better than it did. See the
Yeah.
scuff mark?
Yeah. You can see how,
Yeah.
or either I drop it or whatever I do, most of my, this one, it really shows up a lot more. We can show you
Yeah.
when we do the other bowling ball, the Rhino Pro. We can show you also that there's a scuff mark there too, and that of late that ball hasn't done anything. I actually haven't used it that much, so if we can return that back to form.
We'll get it as close as we can by hand.
Alright.
Alright. I just gotta figure out what the actual surface is out of the box so I can get as close to it as I possibly can.
I know. For all the viewers, how would they go about that? You look up the USB, you look up the number for it on there, or?
You can go to, like for this, you can go to the ball manufacturer website and just click on the ball and it'll actually show you what the finish is.
Okay.
Like right now I'm going to Brunswick. You just find the ball you're looking for, which is the Teal Rhino Pro. And this will tell you what the finish is, if you can see it. Right there, it'll tell you what the actual finish is. And then I have my True Cut equivalent sheets over here, which tells me exactly how to do it. So 500, 1000, 2000. So we're going to put a straight 2000 on this ball.
And you have there, and I know you mentioned in the past to me. So obviously there's different pads out there you can get. You got one pad that you use one pad and then go to the next and then go to the next.
Yeah.
Or you have the ones that you can go straight to what you need right away. Those
are the ones I use. They're the CTD, the creating the different True Cut pads. These will actually cut. These were designed specifically for bowling balls, and these will actually cut whatever the grit says it is. Like if this says 1000 grit, it'll cut 1000 grit. The other ones are like the Sierra pads and all that. They're not technically made for bowling balls. They're actually car finishing pads, which I mean, you know, the pros use them and all that, so they're not bad. But I just prefer the CTD because it's a lot easier.
And the other ones, like you said, you would have to go.
Yeah, you would
wanted to say you wanted to go 4000, you had to go 1000 and 2000,
like
and so forth. And
like with this ball, it calls for 500, 1000, 2000. You would have to do all three of those steps,
right,
to get to 2000.
Right.
This one, you just grab a 2000 pad, go for it.
Okay. A lot easier. Saves a lot of time too.
Saves time, saves product. I'm gonna use the True Cut conditioner again, so we can get this pad nice and moist and save the integrity of the pad.
So yeah, this will just show you
and
how long it will take you to do it by hand compared to.
Now, when you're doing it by hand, you only have to do 2 sides of the ball. Spinner, you have to do 4 because just to get a nice even thing.
Well, half the bowling ball's in the spinner too. So
what's that?
I said half of it's in the spinner also. So
you do half the ball at a time if you're doing it by hand, and it's a little different process. Not much different, but it is a little different. You still don't use a ton of pressure or nothing like that. So you get that nice and moist, and then you basically just, I like to start where the grips and thumb are, and then you just kind of go around the ball, put in kind of medium pressure, maybe, you know, not super light, but not super hard pressure either. Just go around the sides twice. That's where you always start, on the sides if you're doing it by hand. And you move up to the top, because you can always, the pressure is a little different just naturally when you move from the sides to the top. And then you go around the sides one more time. The top one more time.
now, if you do put extra pressure in there, what would that cause?
There is a such thing as too much pressure, which means it wouldn't necessarily be an even grit all the way around.
Okay.
Like if I had the scanner, you could probably scan it, and it wouldn't be consistent all the way around.
Okay.
Now with the spinner, it makes it a lot easier to get that consistency because you're just going one pass, nice and light.
Right.
But like you said, not everyone has a spinner, which is fine. That's why they made it so you can do it by hand and still get the same, the equivalent.
And you said you got your spinner at a pretty good price, which is what? You said $350? Is that what it was?
$369.
Okay. It's not too bad if you're obviously it's a good thing to have if you can afford it.
Yeah. I mean, I never knew this back in the day when I used to bowl, but taking care of your equipment and the surface is a must. I mean, helps immensely with having the same ball reaction every time. So
one thing that I've been lacking.
if you don't take care of your equipment, I recommend you start because it helps a lot. Like I was telling James the other day, I said, with the way I take care of my equipment and how I surface them, I know exactly what every ball is going to do every time I bowl with it. Because I keep the surface, adjusted to where it's supposed to be, and I clean it before and after every single time I use it. So, that is a must. And now that we did that, we're going to go ahead and use some Life After Death on it so we can clean all this stuff off and get her nice and tacky again. Then you'll be able to see how the surface has changed slightly. You'll be able to see it's a little more dull once I get finished. It's not hard to do it by hand, but it takes a little more time. You can do it, obviously.
Yeah.
But it takes time and a little bit more energy, so to speak. Just working on a little scuff over here. So that nasty foam off of there. Now once this dries, you'll notice that it's a little more dull than it was when we started, because it's now at a fresh 2000. I think the temperature in here is a little different because it's not drying as well as it normally does.
Like you said, I know you had cleaned my archetype before, and it was bad. When he got done with it, it looked like it was brand new in the shop. Honestly, it did. It looked amazing. It really impressed me with this, and I thought we should shoot a video for this. Let people know that this is very important to do. And lately I've been bowling bad, so maybe this is one of the reasons. I got an inconsistent bowling ball that I haven't been cleaning well. A lot of factors, but
Now, if you can see, look, come over here. You see this little spot right here where it looks dry?
yeah.
That is because this life after death actually soaks into the cover
Okay.
a little bit, which adds that tackify, which kind of replaces the plasticizers in the ball, which makes it tacky and gives it that nice tacky feel. And it's going to actually extend the life of the ball because it's doing that.
Okay.
And what it'll do also is it'll create a microscopic layer on the ball, so it won't get. It kind of deters it from getting dirty.
Okay.
It'll still get dirty, but it won't get as dirty.
So it's almost like Armor All, sort of. Well, I'm just, Armor All kind of protects and so
So basically, like I said, it's just soaking into the cover, allowing it to extend the life of the ball.
you just put Armor All on her bowling balls.
I wouldn't do that. I think we'd go down the lane 75 feet, and the lane isn't even 75 feet long. And the good thing about these True Cut pads is, say you do this surface at home, and you're like, okay, I want to go practice at the lanes now and see what these balls do. So you take your True Cut pads with you, and you're sitting there practicing on the lanes. You're like, you know what? I don't really like this ball reaction that much.
Yeah.
Let me change it to this real quick. You can do it right lane side, as long as you're not in competition.
Yeah. Now, you had to do the whole process over. So, say I didn't like how the ball was reacting. Maybe I needed a little bit. Maybe I need to go down a little bit, or I don't know. So you just spray the cleaner on there. I mean, you spray the what was it? The True Cut conditioner. Is that what it is?
Oh, the conditioner's for the pads.
Okay.
That way the pads last longer and it reduces friction on the ball.
So you just take a regular pad to the ball without anything?
I mean, you can, but it's dusty.
Okay, so
you can do it, but it'll create dust. So if you keep some of this in your bag, some of the True Cut conditioner, you just spray it on.
That's what I meant, the conditioner. Okay.
You just spray it on. You can do it right lane side or whatever, and
so that's
it. Just kind of
and your pad if you wanted to try to change the surface while you're there because you got there to practice.
And then, what I would recommend, what I use anyway, is say I'm at the lanes and I end up changing the surface at the lanes rather than spraying life after death on it and waiting 30 seconds and doing the whole process because it's already basically pretty clean at that point. I just use that wow factor. You just use it with a towel. So you just use it with one of these. You just spray it on the ball and wipe it down, and it's a really good cleaner also from creating the difference.
So you're saying if you're at the bowling alley, you're practicing, throw your ball, you're like, I don't like it. I want to change the surface on it.
Mm-hmm.
So you use the True Cut with it, and then use your pad, and then you use that right afterwards. Is that what you're?
Yes. You use it after you clean. That way you get all like the dust off.
So you don't have to go to. Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, it just makes it easier because you don't have to sit there and wait 30 seconds and do the whole process. And
got you.
This I usually leave for home, or if the ball's super dirty.
Yeah.
Getting the ball nice and dry.
Alright, it looks.
And as you can see, it's a
You
lot
can
more.
hear it.
It's dull.
You hear it's all
Nice and tacky.
Yep. Definitely. Okay. Is there any other tips that you have for that maybe you forgot or anything else that you can?
The only thing I can think of is just keep up with your surfaces, because surface is the most important aspect of ball reaction and ball motion.
Yes.
Because you got the cord. That's basically just going to tell you, okay, this ball wants to spin up now,
right,
or whatever. But the surface is what actually touches the lane, and that's going to dictate what it actually does.
Yeah.
So if you notice your ball is not doing what it was before, or not performing the way you want it to, put a fresh surface on it, and it Should bring it right back to life.
And also clean your ball after each.
Yes.
Once you throw it down there, make sure.
Clean your ball after every time you throw it. I mean, not every time you throw, but every time after a session that you bowl. Because you can't use cleaner while you're bowling.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, definitely, it's it's something I need to get in the habit too. I've been trying to do that. But yeah, watching other videos too, it does anything that's going to help my game. I need to do so.
It definitely keeps your reaction consistent, and it helps a lot.
All right, well, Donnie, I appreciate your wisdom, your knowledge on this. I appreciate you shooting a video.
Not a problem.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching J&J Bowling. Hopefully you subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe to this man's channel. It's a great channel.
Appreciate that. And also share it.
Yes.
So we have some upcoming videos, like you said, that we're going to do. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. See you guys in the next one.